In the near future, a massive solar flare destroys the ozone layer and causes Earth to become an uninhabitable wasteland. Extreme weather events happen all over the world, and all life gets scorched by the sun's ultraviolet rays if they don't stay in the shadow. 15 years after the flare, engineer Finch is out with his robot partner, M.V.E, to look for supplies. To survive the UV rays, he wears a special suit that protects his whole body and warns him when radiation levels are extra high. While Finch sings a little tune, the duo goes around a store, picking up anything they can find, including dog. There are tons of bodies on the floor, but they just ignore them. On say they're done, Finch marks the building so that, in the future, he knows he has already emptied it. Afterward, Finch gets on a truck and uses the map he has been marking down to drive through an abandoned town that is now covered in sand. There aren't any people around, so Finch doesn't mind just pushing cars away with the truck. Suddenly, Finch's suit warns him of a giant storm approaching, so he tries to drive away as fast as possible. After bumping against a bunch of cars, he takes and escapes from the city just in time. Soon he reaches his underground laboratory, which used to be the space and climate energy company he worked for. The storm is getting closer, but Finch drags M.V.E away and moves fast to enter the building before they get blown away. Once they're safe, Finch deeply cleans his suit and M.V.E, and then he takes a shower. Suddenly, he starts coughing, revealing that he is slowly dying because of all the radiation he has been exposed to. After everything is safely cleaned, Finch enters the area he is transformed into an apartment and is warmly welcomed by his dog, Goodyear. After they share lots of hugs and kisses, Goodyear eats the dog food Finch found. But Finch himself only has a drink because his supplies are running low. He puts today's bounty in the fridge and can't help staring at a peach can, but he reminds himself to save it for a special moment. Afterward, Finch works on his main project, making a humanoid robot that will take care of Goodyear after he is gone. A robot arm grabs all the books from the library and feeds them into a scanner, which uploads all the knowledge into a database Finch will use for the robot's mind. He only pauses his work to throw a ball for Goodyear, who happily brings it back for more. Later in the evening, Finch reads a book about radiation and gets upset when he realizes how little time he has left. Instead of sleeping, he decides to continue working on the robot to finish it before it is too late. He is almost done with the head, and he is missing eyes, so he takes eyes and promises to replace them later. When he activates the robot, it is not capable of speaking, but it can nod when Finch asks questions. Finch is incredibly excited and immediately works on fixing the speech issue, which allows the robot to finally talk and causes Goodyear to bark at it. The robot chooses the name Jeff and proves he knows lots of random facts from the books Finch scanned, but he also must obey the directives Finch has programmed for him, like no harming human. The most important one is the fourth directive, which says he must protect Goodyear after Finch is gone. Suddenly, the power goes out in the building. Finch has to go outside to get the wind turbine working again while Jeff tries to chat with Goodyear, which says he must protect with Goodyear. The dog just pees on Jeff's legs. At that moment, Finch notices an enormous storm approaching, so he rushes back inside and connects Jeff to the weather station. It turns out that 4 different storms will be coming in the next 24 hours and collide into a superstorm that will last around 40 days. There is no way they can survive such a disaster, so Finch decides they have to leave as soon as possible. While finally eating his can of peaches and ignoring his bleeding nose, he looks at his map and notices their only chance is to head west to San Francisco. Then he finishes building Jeff's full body and increases the transfer rate, which isn't ideal because the data will only be at 72%, but they're out of time. The robot body gets connected to the head, and Jeff successfully stands up to teach him how to walk, which causes Goodyear to bark more. There is a bit of falling, but soon Jeff gets the hang of it. Afterward, Finch packs everything they may need, but also brings along his collection of postcards. M.V.E keeps bumping into stuff, so Finch uses a security camera to give him new eyes. Then, the group gets on an RV and finally takes off. During the trip, they watch how every place around them is a desert now, and Finch tells them about the days of wild flowers and bees. Jeff has a loose piece inside its head, so when they eventually reach a new town, Finch makes a stop to repair him. While Finch works, Jeff looks at the postcard collection and notices that Finch keeps a San Francisco one on a special spot, which apparently was sent by his uncle. Jeff likes the Sydney postcard and wants to go there, but since it is too far, he agrees to be excited about seeing the Golden Gate instead. Once repairs are done, Finch announces they'll go out to look for supplies, and M.V.E is disappointed to learn Finch will be taking Jeff this time. As they walk down the street, Finch teaches Jeff all the basics of scavenging, and eventually they find a movie theater. The door is locked with a chain, but luckily Jeff is so strong that he can just pull the door off inside. Jeff is amazed to see himself in the mirror for the first time, and Finch is excited to find a bag of popcorn. He takes it outside and opens it to show Jeff that the sun is so strong that it pops all the corn in seconds. Their little moment of fun is interrupted when they notice the storm approaching them. They immediately return to the RV and get out of the city, but the storm is about to catch up to them. Their only choice is to find shelter, so Finch gets Jeff to help him tie the RV down with wires. Finch gets tired quickly because of his illness. Thus, Jeff sends him back inside while he finishes the job. M.V.E is sent into a cabinet, and Finch covers all the windows before calling for Jeff, who puts down the last wire and runs into the RV right before the storm hits the vehicle. The RV shakes like crazy when it gets hit by the storm, and Finch and Jeff do their best to hold on to the furniture, while all the wires begin to snap one by one until only one remains. After several minutes of shaking, the storm goes away and the group comes out. Finch notices the last standing wire was the one Jeff put down with his great strength, but he also discovers a tire has been destroyed. They do have a spare tire, and Jeff can just use his strength to lift the RV for Finch to change. The group spends the night on that spot to rest in peace, and the next morning they open the solar panels to keep going. Jeff barks back at M.V.E, thinking he can learn dog language, so Finch explains to him that it'll take time for M.V.E to trust him. Later, while they're on the road again, Jeff asks, "What exactly is trust?" Finch doesn't know how to explain something so complicated, so instead he shares a story. At his first job, he was put in a team of bad workers to finish a project. Finch solved a software problem all by himself, but later he credited the whole team, winning their trust. However, Jeff doesn't understand the story, saying Finch's problem was precisely that he hadn't trusted them. The conversation is interrupted when Finch starts coughing like crazy, so he stops at a restaurant by the road to have a break. He parks the RV next to the entrance for shade and rushes into the restaurant without the suit, only to start coughing blood. Suddenly, he hears some barking and discovers M.V.E refuses to be taken out by Jeff, so Finch has to grab the leash and bring the dog into the restaurant with him after telling Jeff to guard the RV. While Finch tries to have a cute moment with M.V.E, Jeff tries to learn how to use the RV. He manages to play some music, and then he tries to drive it, only to accidentally hit a car. Finch notices this and rushes outside, so M.V.E follows him and almost steps under the sun. Luckily, Finch stops him just in time. Then Finch scolds Jeff for his actions and makes him bring the RV back. But Jeff ends up hitting the restaurant's column. Furious, Finch puts his hand under the sunlight for a few seconds to prove how badly it burns. He also yells at Jeff, asking him to grow up and reminding him that his priority is to take care of M.V.E. After returning to the road, Finch notices Jeff is down and quiet, so he decides to give him a chance and teach him to drive properly. At first, Jeff is quite clumsy and bumps against some rocky formation, but soon he gets the hang of it and drives confidently. When night falls, they stop to camp and watch the northern lights, which now can be seen easily because there is no ozone layer. Jeff wonders why they don't drive at night, so Finch explains it is dangerous because starving people attack from the shadow. The next morning, Jeff hears M.V.E bark and rushes to check on Finch, who is throwing up and shivering a lot. Jeff takes care of him and leaves him to rest while Sam continues to drive. Eventually, they make it to another city, so Jeff asks M.V.E to stay with Finch while he and M.V.E go out to scavenge. They enter a hospital and look around, but there isn't much, so Jeff asks M.V.E to guard the entrance while he searches upstairs. Neither of them notices someone watching from the shadow. Jeff manages to find some medicine and a jacket that he decides to put on. He also opens a cabinet that is full of useful stuff. Downstairs, M.V.E finds some food, but when he tries to grab it, he walks into a bear trap that instantly destroys him. Meanwhile, Finch wakes up and discovers his robots are gone. He can guess they're in trouble, so even in his weak state, he suits up and goes after them. He is devastated to find M.V.E in such a violent, poor condition and turns him off to stop his suffering. Then he notices someone moving around and gets ready to attack, but it is just Jeff in his new coat. Finch scolds him for not being able to tell this place is a trap. Then they start running as they hear some noises nearby. At the stairs, Finch starts coughing and falls to his knee, but they hear the noises getting closer, so Jeff helps him up and they run out of tail this close. The building, as soon as they reach the RV, they immediately drive off at great speed, not noticing a car following them. Hours later, after nightfall, Finch finally sees the car chasing them. Since Jeff is driving and can see in the dark, they turn off the headlights, but the car is still following them. Next, they try speeding up, and Finch notices an underpass ahead, so he steers the RV off the road. Jeff tries to explain that the height of the RV is higher than the underpass, but Finch is panicking and keeps driving to try to hide the RV under it. Sadly, Jeff is right, and the underpass ends up destroying the RV's solar panels. So, Jeff has to use his strength to finish pushing the RV until it is completely hidden. The group is tense as they wait for the car to pass by, and Jeff discovers that Finch keeps a gun for self-defense. Thankfully, the car goes away and Finch comes out the damage, blaming himself for it. Since he can't repair it, he is sure they won't reach San Francisco. And when Jeff tries to comfort him, Finch snaps and yells at him. Jeff doesn't give up and follows Finch into the RV to tell him he believes in him, causing Finch to reply with a story. After the solar flare happened, people were just learning how to survive. Finch had entered a supermarket and only found a bag of noodles, but soon he saw a mother and daughter with a cart full of stuff. The girl had a gun in her hand, and the mother kept reminding her to shoot if she saw anyone. Scared of being shot, Finch stayed hidden. At that moment, a crazy guy with a shotgun showed up and asked for the duo's things, so the mother tried to defend herself. In the middle of the struggle, the man fired multiple times, and by the time Finch came out, both mother and daughter were dead. However, he heard a noise and checked the girl's backpack, only to find a terrified little puppy that day. Finch adopted Goodyear and promised to protect him at any cost. That is also the day he learned not to trust anyone. The next morning, Finch rests while Jeff continues to drive. Jeff also checks the postcards and discovers the San Francisco one is signed by Dad, not Uncle, and all the others have nothing on the back. Suddenly, the computers announces the UV isn't critical here, and the RV hits a butterfly. Confused, Jeff stops the vehicle and awakens Finch to show him what happened. Shocked, Finch puts his hand out, but it doesn't burn. He immediately comes outside and excitedly gets to finally enjoy the warmth of the sun again. He is also surprised to find more butterflies and even a flower nearby. Hours later, as they continue traveling, they see lots of plants growing in the area. To celebrate, Finch puts on his nice suit and stops the RV to have a picnic under the sun. Jeff confesses that last night he saw the group at the bridge, which excites Finch because it means Jeff is dreaming. Next, Jeff asks Finch why he lied about the postcard. So Finch shares a new story. When he was a kid, his mom told him his dad had Viking blood in him, and Finch shows Jeff a picture of a Viking funeral. His father left before Finch was born because he was an engineer who built bridges and traveled a lot for contracts. Finch never had contact with him until his 15th birthday when he received the postcard out of the blue. His father wrote he hoped to meet his son one day, and Finch bought this fancy suit for the reunion. Unfortunately, he never heard from his dad again, but he started his postcard collection. Touched by the story, Jeff excitedly announces they can reach the Golden Gate in 18 hours if they hurry, but Finch reminds him he'll die soon and won't be able to make it. After making Jeff promise he'll take good care of Goodyear, Finch throws a ball to show Jeff how to play with a dog. Jeff throws the ball as well, but Goodyear always brings it back to Finch because he is still wary of Jeff. Suddenly, Finch starts coughing up blood, and when Jeff asks if he can help him, Finch says he already did. Then he shakes Jeff's hand, and they share a warm hug. Afterward, Finch goes into the RV to rest while Goodyear watches over him. Jeff stays outside to pick up their thing, but as the sun sets, he hears Goodyear cry and knows Finch has finally passed away. To honor their dear friend, Jeff and Goodyear give him a Viking funeral by burning him with his UV suit. At first, Jeff feels lost and he doesn't know what to do, but soon he remembers his promise to take care of the dog. He feeds Goodyear, then plays fetch with him, and for the first time, Goodyear brings the ball back to Jeff. Playing together allows them to bond, and Goodyear even hugs Jeff. Airward, they take off again, determined to finish their journey. When they finally arrive at San Francisco, Jeff puts up a memorial for Finch, and then he goes to see the Golden Gate with Goodyear. He is amazed by its beauty, but he is more surprised by all the messages left by people for their loved ones to let them know where to find them. Seeing there are more survivors, Jeff tells Goodyear they should find them, so he hangs up the postcard with a drawing of them and then leaves with the dog, ready to start a new life. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.